afternoon. Welcome back to Storekeep Wormstead. Today we're going to be talking about how do you keep your worms safe with this Arctic winter blast heading directly towards all of us. So here in Louisiana, we know that by Friday morning, we're going to be in like well below freezing temperatures. But this is what I'm going to do here at Storekeep Wormstead to keep my red wigglers safe when this Arctic blast hits. The first thing I'm going to start doing is today on Monday, I'm going to begin a feeding regimen that is way more intense than I normally do. I'm going to feed my worms a whole lot of used coffee grounds, pumpkin seeds. All you viewers who have comfrey somewhere in your yard, or you know somebody like Storekeep Wormstead that grows it year round, now is the time to use it. Being very serious, stop what you're doing, listen to me carefully. You grind up these leaves in something like a bullet or a food processor, and you mix it in with your coffee grounds and your pumpkin seeds. You take it out and you pour this ground up now into a pile, 1 or 2 in a small bin. In my case, you'll see when I take you outside, 5 or 6 piles. This is a bioactivator. In fact, it is a known fact that if you have a compost pile that's gone cold, and you need to heat that little puppy right back up, this is the plant that you use. So guys, what are we looking for? We're looking up for ways to heat up our worm bins to keep our worms from freezing to death during this Arctic freeze that's coming, correct? So if you can get your hands on comfrey, you wanna grind this up and you wanna put this into the food that you're gonna start feeding them today. And you're gonna actually create little piles of heated food within your bed, which is going to create heat, which I'm going to tell you how we're going to protect that heat. I'm going to layer the tops of their beds with rabbit manure, moist rabbit manure. What I'm doing, guys, is I'm going to begin creating a microbial atmosphere for my worms. So as the microbes come in to break down the coffee grounds, which are high in nitrogen, the rabbit manure, again, it's a cold manure. But if it's damp and balled up, it can produce a small amount of thermal heat. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking to warm up specific areas of my very large bed with food piles. I'm going to do it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So what I'm going to do is when I put those food piles in every single day across the bed, I'm going to create heat in specific areas of my bed, allowing my worms time to travel to where the heat is, where the microbial activity is creating a heat. Now, is it going to be a tremendous heat? No, but it will be enough to keep those worms safe through the 16-degree weather. The next thing I'm going to do is layer my bed with leaves, rabbit manure, hay, or straw, even pine straw, if that is all you can get your hands on. And on top of that, I will put cardboard. Now guys, what I'm basically doing when I layer that bed and that design is I'm going to increase the thermal mass, which means a full large worm bin naturally will buffer itself against extreme temperatures. Now I have a large, full worm bin. So I'm going to create areas where air can be trapped in the hay, the straw, the manure, the leaves. That will slow down the loss of heat, okay? An increased thermal mass will naturally provide your worm bins the ability to absorb, store, and release heat in a way that will keep your worms safe through the cold that is coming. Now, when I'm talking about trapping heat, if you know anything about heat, heat rises, okay? So heat rises. So when we go outside and look at my bins, I want you to notice a couple of things. I have numerous layers on top of my vermicompost of manure, leaves, hay, cardboard. Then I have a plastic tarp. On top of that, I have another, like, it's basically a sun block, like a sunshade, but the weight of it pulls down. And what I'm trying to do is trap warm heat that would normally rise and dissipate into my shop. I'm trapping that through layers, slowing it down so that the temperature of the bed doesn't change very quickly. Now, I hope you can follow along with that because it's very important in understanding how you can protect your worms with this Arctic freeze coming. It's very similar to the concept of you can put on a heavy jacket and go outside and still be cold. But if you put on an undershirt, then you put on a t-shirt, then you put on a sweatshirt, then you put on a jacket, all of a sudden you're like, whoa, I'm really hot. Because what you did was create multiple layers between your skin and the cold. And as your heat from your body moves into this layer, your undershirt, and then to this layer, your t-shirt, then to that layer, your sweatshirt, and then to the outer layer, which is your jacket, you are trapping that heat, therefore building heat up around your core. That is exactly what we want to do in our worm bins. We want to trap the heat as it rises, slowing it down, allowing it to press back down on top of the vermicompost, essentially creating its own heat. So that's very important. So that's why we're going to do the feedings, the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, multiple feedings to raise that temperature in the vermicompost itself. Now, as that temperature rises, it's going to get trapped underneath the manure, but then the air's going to push through and it'll get trapped by the hay. Then it's going to push through again. Once more, it will be trapped by the cardboard. Now, once it gets past the cardboard layer, it'll get trapped by the plastic. Essentially, keeping the inside of my bed several degrees warmer than the air in my shop, which is an uninsulated shop. So I have to take these steps. So we're gonna go outside. It is raining, which means on that metal roof it's gonna be a little loud. I hope you can hang in there because I really wanna show you guys everything that I've done to protect my worms. It's very important. They are part of livestock. They are a big part of my permaculture, my no-till, and my organic regenerative farm. So I need these worms to survive. So I'm gonna do everything in my power to make that happen. Outside in the rain, I just wanted to show you what their food is gonna look like. You see how many coffee grounds that is? It's a lot, guys. Use coffee grounds only, all right? So what else I've got in here is a potato that I ground up. I've got some pumpkin seeds, I've got some eggshells, and I've got a whole lot of comfrey. I used 4 leaves of comfrey because I want these tiny piles that I'm putting in my worm bin today to begin heating up. I will do this again tomorrow, and I will do it Wednesday. When you approach my outside beds, the first thing that you notice is that I have a layer of plastic, like I was telling you. And on top of that, I have basically a sunshade. And all of this overhangs, okay? Basically trapping the heat. Now when you look at the bed, the first thing you see would be the cardboard. You can lift up the cardboard, and what you see underneath that is the straw and the manure. Underneath that would be your vermicompost. So let's get the food piles in here and get this covered back up, and let's start increasing the heat of this bed now before it's so cold that the little bit of heat that I could increase won't matter. Guys, what we've got going on here is I went ahead and I got a pile of finely done pine shavings, right? It's what we use in our nesting boxes for our rabbits. So let me show you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna dig a pile down here into the vermicompost, all right? I'm gonna take these wood shavings and I'm gonna sprinkle them in there. There's a reason for that. Like I said, I'm trying to trap hair. So as I heat this area up, what I really want to happen is that heat can stay there so the worms can go there basically as a refuge against the cold. Because I cannot heat this bed from underneath. It is too large. So I'm gonna put a bunch of that in there. I'm gonna take some more pine shavings, and sprinkle them on top, like that. Gonna push all the vermicompost back on top. I'm gonna cover that back up with hay, and I went and I got some extra hay. All right, because this area, I really want to stay warm, all right? It's gonna act like a little area of heat that'll radiate. The worms will pick up the scent of food. They will know that this is a feeding area. I've got the comfrey ground up in that. It's gonna warm up quite nicely in this one area. So I'm gonna set a pile up there. I'm gonna set a pile up here. I'm gonna set one up further in this area. Then I have that whole bed over there that I still have to do. But remember, I told you I'm gonna do this 3 days in a row. So tomorrow my food piles will be located in different areas, in this bed and the other one. Wednesday, food piles will be set up in different areas. So essentially what I'm going to be creating are tiny pockets of heat. Microbial activity will be going on at a rapid pace in those areas, creating its own heat source. Then all this on top of the bed, the cardboard, the manure, the hay, the plastic is going to trap that heat as it rises and essentially warming up the atmosphere and the air above the bed. That is your best defense. Even in a small bin, you can replicate this. Just understand, you don't want to heat it up so much that you basically turn it into a compost pile, because then you will kill your red wigglers. I hope this video really helped you feel prepared for what's coming with this Arctic freeze. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know what you're doing at your home with your vermicompost setup and how you're going to keep your worms alive and thriving through the winter Arctic storm. You guys be blessed, be safe, and know that we appreciate you rowing in our boat and letting us here at Starkey Farmstead row in yours.